This morning, we just thank you for this beautiful day you've given us, Lord. We thank you for the breath of life this morning. We just thank you for our friends and our family, Lord. We just pray that you bless those that are in need this holiday season, Lord. We just pray that you will guide and direct us in our decisions that we make here at this meeting. I also ask that you be with our soldiers, Lord, overseas. Be with their families as they're gone this season, Lord, and just bring comfort to their hearts. Pray for our elders, pray for our young people, Lord. Just give them guidance and wisdom. I ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Mary Fraley, here. Bill England, Bill John Baker,
Here.
Jack Baker,
Here.
Harley Bezer,
Here.
Julia Coates, here. Bradley Cobb, Joe Crittenden,
Here.
Jody Fishinghawk, Janelle Fulbright, here. Don Garvin, Chet Hoskin Jr., Tana Gloria Jordan, Curtis Snell, Chris Soap,
Here.
David Thornton,
Present.
Kara Cowan Watts.
Honey,
We do have a quorum.
we have a quorum. Next order of business is approval of the minutes, and I would request if in toto, the November 16, 17 minutes, a motion to approve.
I move to be approved.
Or second. Moved and second, they be approved in toto. Anything else? I can't even think this morning. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Next are the reports, and I would ask the presenters to make it brief as possible because we only have an hour, and so I'll limit it to just a couple of minutes if you don't mind. First is Ms. Wright, Marshal Service.
Good morning, Council.
Good morning.
Obviously, I'm not Mrs. Wright. I don't have the red hair.
That's right.
A little gray, though. I'll tell you. Working out in those communities and working in the public school system, now I don't know why the teachers want a raise. I didn't realize that was work. Well, listen, Council, I'll be real brief, and I hope everybody's warm. I'll never forget what my father told me one time. He said he didn't really know what his name was till he went into service. He said all the time, he said, I thought it was go get wood. But briefly on some of the highlights that we covered within our 14 counties, as you can see in Cherokee County, we had one public intoxication, obviously the holidays, warrant arrest, embezzlement, which was handled in the Eastern District Court on tribal side. Mays County, we didn't have any. Fort Gibson, as you can see, there was none, and there's rare occasions there, unless an incident there at the casino. Adair County, we had a grand larceny, which through the cross deputization, you can see on prosecution was through the state. Assault on tribal side and a trespass. Muskogee County, 2 drug cases, which fell into the state as well. And there have been occasions where we worked with the Creeks as well on some of those cases. South Mays County, none. Mays County, we didn't have any at the time. Delaware County, we had a domestic violence over in Delaware County, and it was handled in the tribal. And if you look real briefly down at the bottom there on B where it says brief and future plans, we're going to try to work with those communities with instructors coming in, officers coming in to work strategy with these women on defense against aggression and such through in-service training and such to help those communities with the problems that they may have with domestic violence. Delaware County, Rogers County, there was none, and Craig County. And other issues, as you can see, we've been assisting, and I think up until this week, assisting the Bureau of Indian Affairs officers with the Cheyenne Arapaho incident that they have incurred. I guess it was over, I don't know all the detail what this involves, but it was after a tribal election. We hope it's going to clear up. They're saying the first part of January until they can get their structuring back. We have some explorers where we have the kids come out that wants to come out to assist the officers with events, and it's a program set up if they're career-minded going into law enforcement in that area. Again, we're by myself and Officer Timothy has been working with the drug prevention program in some of our rural schools. We're finishing up this semester, and we also this is going to be the first time since I first started the program back in Golly 93 that we're getting back into the Kenwood School because it's much needed in that area. And that's what, again, I said this before, to target those isolated areas. So other than that, that's all I have. If you have any questions or like to email me, that.
Any questions or comments? Good report, thank
Okay.
you. Office Attorney General, Ms. Hammonds, next items 2 and 3.
Good morning.
Morning.
I don't have a whole lot to add to our written report. We did get the brief filed in the poultry appeal. As you know, that is the appeal on the Judge Frizzell's denial of our motion to intervene. It's a very narrow issue. Because he ruled that we did have the right to intervene, we were just late. So the timeliness, it is only on the legal issue of timeliness. And we think we've made some real good arguments. The other side's response brief, lawyers, you'll appreciate this, is due the week between Christmas and New Year's. We didn't plan that on purpose, but that's the way it worked out. We have a new old assistant AG that started with us yesterday. I'll bring her next time. Susan Work is back in the AG's office as a senior assistant AG. She has been with Hobbs Strauss in Oklahoma City for a number of years and had done some work for us on water issues there. She used to be general counsel here. Some of you will recall she's been AG, I think, of the Seminole and the Choctaw. I'm not sure about that. We're very, very fortunate that Susan wanted to come back in. I'm sure that she'll be an enormous help to us. I think that's all the highlights I wanted to hit. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Diane, can you just give us a brief overview of the Cobell ruling?
I'm probably not the best one. Ms. Knight actually understands more about it than I do. I think that its effect on our citizens is probably going to be a lot less than other tribes because we have fewer people that have those IIM accounts. But there are two classes of folks that may be entitled to a portion of the settlement. Those with IIM accounts that had some action within a designated period of time, and those folks that still have allotment land with restrictions on it that had some action affecting that land within a certain period of time. It's also my understanding that hasn't been funded yet, so it's still preliminary. What administration is doing, Sammy Resco and Melanie and Robert Garcia from my office have met and worked together on that. I believe that Communications is setting up a thing on the website and a helpline number so that people can call and get answers to that. I also saw that Ms. Knight had asked Linda Donaldson if we could get out some information to folks that we knew still had restricted land.
Great. I've gotten a couple, just 2 calls.
I'm sure. And I think Communications is getting a lot of calls too.
Any questions, other questions for Diane? If not, thank you.
Thank you. I don't have anything new to report on GEG.
Okay, appreciate it. Election Commission, you're here to report. There you are. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Council. The Election Commission sent in our monthly report, and I think all of you have had a chance to review that. And other than that, I don't have anything to report other than on behalf of the Commission, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody, and I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions, comments?
I do know that Todd, I think, just passed out the latest version of the Act for everybody's review. I haven't received a copy of it yet, but I don't think that's really on the agenda today. But at least between now and the next meeting, we'll all have an opportunity to review that and go over at the next meeting. Okay?
No questions? I thank you for being here today. Ms. Weston, Tax Commission. Morning.
I think you do have my report. I would just like to add, since I did not have the October numbers when I submitted the report for the tobacco side, that it is a 148.10% increase compared to October of FY09 on revenue for that particular one. And I didn't have those numbers when I submitted my report, so I just wanted to add that. And other than that, I'll try to answer any questions if you have any questions.
Questions for Ms. Weston? Thanks for coming to our community meeting.
You're welcome.
Ms. Handy, self-governance?
Good morning. I think you have my report. I don't have much new to report. You've already discussed Cobell a little bit, so unless you have any questions.
Any questions? Comments?
I do have something I almost forgot to be sure that you were aware of, is that we did get funding for 2 more stimulus roads projects. We got those in, so we'll get started on those.
They all go to Mesa County, don't they? Oh, Mr. Hummingbird, we have the pleasure of Mr. Hummingbird appearing today.
I'm actually getting a well-deserved reputation, I think. Well, I do believe my report made it in on time. Be happy to answer any questions you have on that, but I do have a couple of new things I wanted to share with you. First is the NIGC has a new setting commissioner. Stephanie Cochran, who's a member of the Chickasaw Nation, took office last week. She is just been appointed as a commissioner, not as chair or vice chair at this point. However, Norm DeRozier, who is currently serving as the vice chair, has been notified that he will not be reappointed. George Skabeen is still the acting director or chairman of NIGC, with the search for a replacement for him still underway. No news as to when we can expect a full-time replacement for the chair position. And also, the NIGC published on December 4th what they're calling their NEPA manual, the National Environmental Policy Act manual, in which they hope to define for themselves and for tribes what types of actions may constitute a NEPA review. I've supplied a copy of that to Tom Elkins in the Environmental Office, and will hopefully be working with him in order to get our comments, if necessary, into the NIGC by their deadline of January 18. Not sure exactly what all is being held with that manual at this point. I have not had a chance to read it myself, but we will work on that to see if there's any impact or potential impact to the Cherokee Nation. So with that, I'll entertain any questions you might have.
Ms. Fishing Hawk?
Yeah, Jamie, I got a call from a tarot vendor that they was charged a fee, there's a sliding fee being charged by the gaming commission to come on the property, and I'm confused about it. I didn't understand the whole thing, to be honest.
To come onto the property?
To do some work,
or? We are in the midst right now of refining our vendor licensing policy. And the Gaming Commission's had a vendor licensing policy for over 10 years now, but the primary focus of that has been on the gaming vendors and financial services providers. But we are currently looking at what vendors are potentially going to be affected by the terms of our agreement with the state under the compact. The compact does require some level of licensure for what it would be considered as non-gaming. There are certain categories within that one label of non-gaming that are obviously of interest to the Commission, and there are obviously others that are not. But we are going through right now and trying to work through determining the exact criteria that will allow us to determine what specific category a vendor will reside in, whether it's going to be subject to licensure or not. The Commission does not charge a vendor license fee or anything like that just to come onto property or to necessarily to do business. We don't require a license before they do business, but if they are being looked at and if they are going to be in one of those categories, then it's possible that they may be licensed. Now, we do have one tarot company that is licensed by the Commission, but it is a gaming vendor. They supply gaming materials and goods such as table felts and cards and shufflers. So there, I believe that is KP Gaming. But we don't have any other tarot vendors on our license list at this point.
Okay, I'm curious, what does the fees go to?
What we're looking at for what we call a Class B vendor, which is a non-gaming vendor, would be a $500 fee every 2 years. And that goes to cover the cost of doing a background investigation on the company and its principals. Those are requirements that we are looking at that are straight out of the compact.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you for coming here today, Jamie. It's nice to see you.
Well, I'm glad you got to see me.
Mr. Hembry, codification.
Yes, we are still waiting for a report or a proposal from Westlaw on the cost. We've given them an estimate of the volumes that we think it's going to take, and I believe that set. Mr. Morton and I discussed it. It'll probably be 5 volumes. We've are having them give us a bid on hardbound, like you see in the law books, and also the softbound. I would think that the hardbound would be better because they're much more durable. A softbound code probably has a shelf life of 2-3 years, whereas a hardbound would have a much longer shelf life. So we're wait. They had said that they should be able to give us a quote sometime in December, and hopefully by next month we'll have some quotes to determine.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So does that mean that it's done and we can get CDs of our codified law for right now? Well, I mean,
All the laws are on disk, and we can provide those to you. There is, there still may be some titles that will have to be completed, i.e. the election. And I believe the gaming is done. Mr. Morton's not here, but you submitted all the changes to Mr. Morton?
Yes, there's one more area, particularly with the vendor licensing, that we're trying to iron out at this point. After that, I think it should be done.
We're very close.
and is this what's also working with Legistar? Is that what we're waiting on too?
Pardon.
Okay.
Yeah, they do dovetail, but we're very close, and we gave, I think it's Mr. Cubas, a copy of, electronic copy of our acts when he was here, and to give him a good idea of what would need to be done on Wes's end of it. So I expect to have a bid from them or proposal next month.
Thank you.
Any questions, Mr. Any other questions? Thank you, Todd. Under old business, we have a confirmation of Mr. Bill Grass to the board managers of Cherokee Medical Services. That was tabled along with items 2, 3, and 4, waiting for a policy on restructuring the boards and commissions. It's my understanding it'll be 3 to 4 months before that's completed. So how do you want to proceed with this? You want to go ahead and confirm this or table, or is that good?
A motion to table.
Okay. Do you have a second?
Second.
Moved in second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Item 2, Mr. Grass to the CND, Cherokee Nation Distributors Board. How do you want to proceed on that? Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I have a second.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Oh,
Sorry,
sorry.
is no, I believe he serves on more than one board.
Okay. Did you get that, Shell? Item 3 is confirms agreed nomination of Eddie Humphrey to the CMB board.
Just a question, does he serve on a board presently?
Let's get the motion first.
Make motion to be approved.
Second.
Moved in second now, I'm sorry.
Does he serve on a board presently?
Yes, he serves on the CMB board. To entertain a motion,
Is that the only board he's serving on right
as
now?
far as I know. You, who made?
I made the
who
motion
seconded?
already.
Did you get a second?
Yes,
Oh.
Chris.
Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. Item 4 is the renomination of Mr. Lechtenberger to the CMB board.
I make the motion to be approved.
I'll second it.
Moved in second, any discussion?
Does he serve on more than one board?
I believe he does. All in favor, signify, any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
No, mine too.
Roll call, please. Yes, as you approve the renomination of Mr. Lechtenberger.
Julia Coates,
Yes.
Bradley Cobb,
Yes.
Joe Critton,
No.
Jody Fishinghawk,
No.
Meredith Fraley,
Yes.
Janelle Fulbright,
Yes.
Don Garvin,
Yes.
Chuck Hoskin Jr.,
No.
Lana Gloria Jordan,
No.
Chris Soap,
Yes.
Curtis Snell,
No.
David Thornton,
Yes.
Kara Cowan Watts,
Yes.
Bill England,
Yes.
Bill John Baker, Jack Baker,
Yes.
Carly Buzzard.
Yes.
We have 11 yes and 5 no.
11 yes and 5 no. Motion carries. Okay, item 5 is an act amending the requirements for appointment of members of boards and commissions. Ms. Gloria Jordan?
Yes, Madam Speaker. I'm working with Mr. Stewart on this, and I really believe that Mr. Stewart is going to take care of many of these situations. So what I would like to do to give him that opportunity, because I think we had all talked that it's going to take a couple of months to do this, I would like to pull this and bring it back if we need to after he's been able to combine his boards.
Okay. Motion, so you're making that motion? She has made a motion to withdraw, well, not a motion, a request to withdraw this particular item at this point. Okay, item 6 is an act amending the motor vehicle and licensing code. Ms. Swepson, do you want to bring that forward?
This is not one that I submitted.
Oh, okay. Mr. Buzzard,
Yes, I'll make a motion to approve. Second.
moved in second, any discussion? Yes, Ms. Fishinghawk?
I was gonna ask Carly what we changed it, so I'll know.
Asking what?
What you changed it, so I'll know.
I haven't changed anything in the act itself, Ms. Fishinghawk, but I just want to say, you know, this, we talked and debated this the last meeting we had, and I really feel strongly about this particular resolution because there's schools in Adair County and Delaware County, and some of the other counties has small rural schools. Delaware County, we have 3 or 4 schools, and they get $1,500, and it's really not enough money to do anything with. So when we looked at this, it gives everybody in the whole 14-county jurisdiction that their schools a chance to apply for those funds. And they can apply 2 consecutive years if they have a really good program they want to do to get those dollars, and it's $25,000 a year. So it really gives these little schools a chance to go back and get some extra money that they may need to carry on a program. So I just feel like it would benefit everybody. I know there were some concerns about losing 10% out of your particular district, but that particular district really has a chance to come back and get $50,000 for that particular district. So you would actually gain, even the larger schools would gain, and it's not going to go to all the small schools. It'll be distributed out to small and large. So I think there's a chance for each district to get this, and I think it was 10 each year. So it's spread out pretty good among the 14 county jurisdictions. So I would ask everybody to think about it and support the approval of this resolution. Thank you.
Mr. Baker?
Yes, and I will not be supporting this. I cannot support this. I think it has to do with the promise that we made to hold the schools harmless. And so the money that we give back is exactly the same as what they would have lost, or that they would have gotten from the state had we not started selling tax. And we made them a promise and said, we're going to hold these schools harmless. And so if you take 10% out and it doesn't go to Muskogee County, or it doesn't go to Bartlesville, or it doesn't go to Rogers, then we not kept up our promise to the schools, public schools in the 14 counties. Now, I'm all for coming up with a grant program to help these smaller schools. But let's use gaming dollars, let's use another fund, let's set it up. We can never do too much for education. But folks, these rural schools and public schools within 14 counties are at an all-time low in funding. They are struggling. Every dime that they get today is precious. And, you know, as it's turned out, the money that we give them to hold them harmless has helped them because it's money that they get outside the formula. And so, and it's not earmarked. And if we go to messing with it and taking part of it back, the publicity crisis alone is not worth it. Once they realize that we're reneging on our promise to them, to give them, to hold them harmless from these car tags, and that we're reneging on that, and it's not going we're not keeping our word the way we said we would do it, then I'm just totally, absolutely opposed to taking 10% away, even though you're going to give it to another school within the district, or within someplace in the Cherokee Nation. I would much prefer to find these funds to help these schools someplace else, because it's a great idea, Hartley. I just think it's the wrong place to take it from. So there's no way that I can support this. I think we would not be keeping our word. Thank you.
Mr. Soap?
Yeah, I think that Councilor Bill John touched on my question, or my issue was that we're really not taking the money away from the public schools. If there was a promise that previous council made to the public school system, it was that their funding would be given to the public schools in this region. So I don't really say that that we promised Muskogee public schools that you're going to get X amount of dollars, and this is 10% that we guarantee you to have. And so I really don't view it like that. I view it as an opportunity for some of the rural schools, like Harley had mentioned, to if they're interested, if they want to promote Cherokee culture within their organizations, to be able to apply for these additional funds. And if things are really tight, then you would expect that the administrators and the superintendents and the school teachers would become aware of this and really kind of get on the ball, because it can really inject funding into an area and promote core identification ideals for young Native American students. I'll be supporting it. Thank you.
Mr. Baker again?
Yeah, and the thing is, we distribute it right now per Cherokee student. And that's the only fair way to actually get it out, because it relates to car tags. The number of students you got, the number of parents you got, the number of car tags are being sold. So that if the car tag was sold in Cherokee County, then that goes to the schools only in Cherokee County. And if it's sold in Tulsa County, it only goes to the schools in Tulsa County. But now you're usurping that, and you're saying, okay, you get 90% in this district, and the other 10% is going someplace else. And I think now would be a terrible time to do it, and I think it would be, I just think it's wrong.
Mr. Buzzard?
I just And I think Mr. Baker's made some valid points, but I also feel like that we've got kids, and I'm just going to use Kenwood as an example. We have Kenwood School, it's about 90%, 95% Cherokee. Well, they may get $1,500 a year off the car tax, or $1,000, I don't know exact numbers of them. But they really can't do anything. You know, if they wanted to buy and make a computer program down there, it's impossible to get $1,500 would go nowhere. Take schools over in Adair County, they're 95% Cherokee and probably 50% full blood. And it's not taken away from a school, you know, they're still there and they'll be able to apply for those programs. It's just, there's going to be 10 of those a year, so ultimately, you know, every school may get one. So I would ask for your support on this thing. I think it's an important program to get going, because $25,000 is a good amount to start a program. If you have a school that wants to start a language program, you know, that's a good jump to start your language program in those schools. And it'll be funded for 2 years, and then they have to sit out a year before they could reapply again. So anyway, I'd ask the other council for the support on it. Thank you.
Ms. Fishing Hawk?
Speaker, I wanted to ask you or Harley, I want to know how much per kid this amounts to taken away from the school, because Harley, I'm trying to be for it, I really am. But I want to know what it's going to amount to per kid.
I don't know what it
You
is.
know, gives us some figures for a kid. I'm curious to see what will. Is anybody back there? No?
I think it's about 130 now. So it's $130 a kid. And actually that's no money that's lost from the state formula, because all the money that we give for car tags is in addition to all their standard state. So they're not deducted any money from their state formula because of our contribution. Everything we give them is over and above what they would normally get from the state.
So in a nutshell, Chief, like where we've given our kids, let's say at Zion, $130 a kid, when this is all said and done, it'll be basically $117, and the other 13 will go for this competitive grant, right?
Yeah, and I think just as a background, part of the concern is not shifting money from between schools. Part of the concern is actually seeing some value for the money distributed. And we initially did it so there wouldn't be a reaction to us issuing car tags. And I think it's what Bill John initially alludes to. But what we've seen in the last few years, that our Cherokee kids don't see this money, or they don't see the value of the money, and it's not furthering tribal programs or Indian studies or language programs or any of that. It just goes into, you know, putting diesel in the trucks, which is very helpful when schools are in financial crisis. But part of the concern is if we're giving money over and above their budget, should it not be invested in the kids or invested into Cherokee programs that teaches all the kids about the Cherokee Nation and their language and such. And I don't know if this proposal gets there, but I think that's the driving cause behind it. And it's something that we should seriously consider, how we direct our car tag money so our Indian kids are really learning about the Cherokee Nation and their language, and maybe all the kids in those public schools.
Ms. Callan Watts?
Thank you, Madam Chair. For me, the oath of office is very important around how we preserve language and culture. And my Rogers County parents have expressed so much frustration because of the varied degrees of influence that our communities are able to have over school boards or school administrations on putting Cherokee programs into the schools where they belong in our jurisdiction. And especially when they see the amount of car tag money going to, and other Cherokee dollars going to these schools, but yet they don't feel like they have the ability to influence getting Cherokee language or culture programs, even after school programs, if there's concerns about No Child Left Behind and those things in there. So because of that, I am supporting this bill today, even if it means Rogers County is not willing to be competitive and answer the call for Cherokee language and culture in the schools. Because I think that we each have an obligation, not just to our districts, but to the entire Cherokee Nation in bringing these kind of programs forward
and utilizing the money we give out in the communities in an appropriate way to leverage for our communities. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Mr. Thornton?
Since the beginning of this program, I was always in favor and wanted to earmark this funding for schools. It would have been a big chore to turn around and say, you're going to school, you're going to use this for our Cherokee students, and this is what you're going to use it for, and you can pick out what you want to use it for. But that's what I want to do from the beginning. And of course, I got voted down. It never did go over. But we've got a school out here with received $1,500, and that means they have around 11 students in that school that are Cherokee. How many of these schools are out there that have 15 students or 30 students in those schools, and you're going to pull 10% out of that one that has 11 students and give it to someone else that may have 100 students? These programs, you don't have enough money to set a program aside for each school, is what I'm trying to tell you, that really needs the money, that don't have the amount of Cherokees going to that school. So I really think that we need to look at this, and before we make a decision, you know, Mr. Cobb's sitting over there all the time saying, let's study this out and see what's happening. Let's see how many of these schools are out there that receive $1,500 or $2,500 or $3,000, something that they can't start a program with. Let's see how many's out there first before we go pulling it away from a school that don't have very many students. And you know, you're going to pull it away from that school. I don't care what you say. You're going to take 10% out of that school, whether you know, they may not receive that program that year, or the next year, or the next year. It may go somewhere else. So that's what I can't be for this, because I really think that it needs to be looked at real close, and let's see what we've got out there and how we can help these students. Thank you.
Mr. Baker?
Yeah, and, you know, the truth is there's no schools that get $1,500. None. The least funded school in the 14 counties is Cleora in Delaware County, and it gets $16,800. I don't know how many kids they've got, but it must not be many. Kenwood gets $82,872 a year. And if they want us, that's what they get. I'm sitting here looking at it, and that's JOM and that's Cherokee Nation funding, but they get $82,000 a year, and 37 of it is JOM, which is heritage programs, and folks, you know, I'm about heritage and culture as much as anybody in this room. But if we want to really do something, let's take the profits that we get from the car tags and add to the schools this grant program and do it that way. Let's not take away the basic funding when schools in Oklahoma are struggling so much. It's on the news every day. And we're going to take 10% away and change the rules in this economic time. Please don't do that.
Mr. Hoskin?
Would Sequoia schools be eligible to compete for these funds?
I believe it was, yes.
And quite honestly, Madam Speaker, I don't know enough about the details of Sequoia's existing Indian education programs, but do you think that perhaps exempting them from eligibility might make those schools who are not quite where Sequoia is more palatable, or do you think that Sequoia's needs to be competing for these funds? And I just posed that question to the council.
Now he's going to meddle.
Is that a question?
Yeah, I was just curious.
Well, there are Indian students up there just as like they are in any other schools out there, so I think they should be eligible to apply.
Thank you, Minister.
One more, Dr. Cobb.
Harley, have you, number one, did you have time to look at any other, and in this economy, I hate to say alternate funding sources, but did you have any discussions about that?
No, I did not have discussions about that. And, I guess can I respond?
Sure.
What I looked at is the schools that I represent in my district they're always calling me needing money. And I say, well, you get car tag money. Well, it goes into the general fund. You know, kids who want to start an ACES program up there, they have to come to us to get those programs. And these funds would actually help those students and schools to start programs like that. I don't know how many calls you get from your district that schools that need money. There's nothing does. It goes in the general funds, and the athletic director, he wants to use it for a basketball goal, which is okay, but I think this is more about culture and education instead of sports.
If I could, let me ask you another question. Have you had any discussions about some kind of a tier? Because what I'm hearing, and I seem to be in the same boat that Councilor Fishing-Hawk is in. I want to support this, but the concern, at least that I'm hearing from you, is these smaller schools. Have you thought about any kind of a tier as far as, number one, who can apply for the grants, or number two, a tier of who we take this 10% from? I mean, you know, one of the concerns is that you're going to hurt the smaller schools by taking the 10% out. That's what I'm asking. Have you thought about a tier system where you're not penalizing the smaller schools with the 10%, but yet they're able to? Because that seems to be what the concern is the smaller schools. I haven't heard anybody yet say, somebody getting $250,000. We're worried about it. That's kind of what I'm asking.
No, I hadn't thought about that, but that's certainly a good point. You know, it is going to take away. The school gets $2,500. It's going to take $250 away from them, which, you know, they're not getting that much money to start with, so $250 is really not going to make a whole lot of difference to those schools. I just felt like it was a fairly good, fair program for all the schools within 14 county jurisdictions to apply for those grants, whether big or small. And I just never thought about the point that you brought up.
Is there any, am I stepping into some kind of a legal problem? You're suggesting that we tier to the size of the school? I mean, I would welcome an answer to that from somebody. I don't know who to ask, but Todd?
Not education.
Can I?
Yes, if you'll hurry.
What I'm asking is that the car tag payments to these schools, the concern seems to be the smaller schools. If we're taking 10% from 300,000 is one thing, but 10% from a school that only has 16 students, and I don't know the numbers, but that's obviously a smaller school. Is there some kind of legal issue of me suggesting that we look at only allowing some of these smaller schools to apply for the grants, and B, not taking 10% from these smaller schools, cutting off the 10% take at a certain level of student population? I don't know.
Oh, no, you're definitely within your purview to do that. There's nothing. You're not restrained by any.
Where I'm going with is a compact.
There's just nothing in the compact says that you're going to rebate these monies to the school. That's, in a nutshell, what it says.
That answers my question. Thank you.
Okay, we only have 7 minutes. Mr. Thornton.
I haven't thought about the tier yet. Sounds good. I would make a motion to table this and look at this tier situation and maybe look at the larger schools and what they're receiving, and you may be able to help our smaller schools by taking a little bit, not giving them the same percentage. And I understand that, and I think that's a good idea.
Second.
And
All in favor,
I'm sorry.
all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Aye. Cut you.
Okay, roll call.
Jack Baker,
No.
Farley Buzzard,
No.
Julia Coates,
Yes.
Bradley Cobb,
Yes.
Joe Crittenden,
Yes.
Jody Fishinghawk,
Yes.
Meredith Fraley,
Yes.
Janelle Fulbright,
No.
Don Garvin,
No.
Chuck Hoskin Jr.,
Yes.
Tina Gloria Jordan,
Yes.
Chris Soap,
No.
Curtis Snell,
Yes.
David Thornton,
yes.
Kara Cowan Watts,
No.
Bill England,
No.
Bill John Baker.
Yes.
We have 10 yes and 7 no.
10 yes, 7 no. Motion to table carried. Okay, item 7 is confirming the nomination of Carlisle Roberts as a member of the Board of Directors of Cherokee Nation Waste Management.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved in second. Is Mr. Roberts here?
Yes.
Would you like to say a few words before we vote on this?
Well, I don't know much about waste management. I do have a lot of business experience, though. And what I do know, this council has given that project quite a grant to be able to put the cell in. And the goal would be, in 3 years, when another cell is needed, not to come back to this council asking for more money. So I think the marching orders would be to get this where it provides the employment and self-sufficient. So,
Ms. Fishinghawk?
I just have 2 questions. Are you a member of the tribe and do you reside in the 14 county area?
yes, I am a member, and I reside in Muskogee.
In the 14 county area?
No.
Dr. Cobb?
Not to put you on the spot, but as a business owner, your statement was, I don't know much about waste management. I'm not concerned about that. I do want to know what you do know about. What's your business experience?
Well, my business experience, it started in banking. I've been, I was in the real estate development business, still am. Have done that for over 30 years. Been in some manufacturing. Been in the retail side and the motorcycle. I've done over my business career an awful lot of different things. Construction.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Any other questions? Thank you for being here today. All in favor of confirming the nomination of Mr. Roberts to Cherokee Nation Waste Management, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Welcome aboard, Mr. Roberts. Under new business is the resolution confirming the nomination of Rick Doherty to Cherokee Nation Waste Management. Although he has been, would you all be quiet, please? Although he has already been confirmed to the board, I'm not quite sure why we're bringing him back. Ms. Kimber.
This is a resolution that changes it from a 1-year term to a 3-year term.
Move to approve.
Moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 2 is confirming the nomination of Kim Purdy to the Cherokee Nation Waste Management Board.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved in second. Discussion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 3 is an act amending the tax commission and enforcement procedures. That's me. Ms. Webster. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome. All this does is, in our law right now, it only allows us to assess a 1% penalty for late reports or for non-payment of taxes. That really has no teeth to it at all, so we're increasing that from 1% to 10%, and this has been through my commission before it came here.
Approval.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? All,
Question.
Mr. Baker?
Down here in Part B, what is it? The minimum penalty shall be $500. What does that mean?
That just means that's the least amount that it can be, is $500. Because before we've had them, they've been $10 and $20 or $30.
But they're going to start at 500?
Now, is that on the interest and penalties?
I'm
not looking at it, so I'm sorry.
I
think that's on a fine.
Okay, but the minimum is going to be 500.
If they're fined. That's not the interest penalty, but that's if they're fined through like a hearing.
All right. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Call for question.
This is an act, you want by acclamation, whoever made the motion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 4 is an amendment to the motor vehicle licensing code.
And what this is changing the veterans that was requested by this council to move it from the $7 to the $5 on the 100%.
Move for approval.
Second.
Moved in second, discussion. Mr.
I
Hoskins?
just figured, could you add me as a co-sponsor?
Any others that want to be added? Catherine? Yeah, maybe. Mr. Garvey? Mr. Thornton? Mr. Baker? Does everybody want to be a sponsor? Yeah.
Yes.
By acclamation. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
By acclamation.
Okay, item 5 is an act relating to employees of Cherokee Nation or its wholly owned corporation, termination appeals, procedures, except an employee payback of Act of 2005. Mr. Baker?
Yes. Right now, if an employee believes that they are wrongfully terminated, they can appeal it, and we have an appeals process, and they go through it, and if they don't like that, then they can go to district court. Well, the problem is, if they do go to district court and and they are deemed that they were wrongfully employed, which our Constitution's pretty specific on that if you've been here a year, that it's only for cause. The problem is they can't get an attorney because the Cherokee Nation at this point in time, the only thing that you can win in district court is your job back and back wages. Well, too many times they go around town to get an attorney because they think they've been wrong, and the attorney says no, Cherokee Nation doesn't pay attorney fees. So there's nothing in it for the attorney, so the attorney's not going to represent them. And I just think that even an indigent criminal gets an attorney appointed for them, and I'm just saying if we wrongfully terminate an employee and they win, then their attorney fees ought to at least be available to be paid. And it's just it's adding one sentence of cost and attorney fees associated with it, and it's just a matter of fairness. And
Second.
Thank you.
Any discussion? This is an act, you want it by acclamation?
By acclamation.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
1 aye. Did you get that? Okay, motion carries. Okay, item 6 is an act amending the Environmental Quality Code. Mr. Environmental.
Madam Chair, this changes the environmental code. Right now, we have 3 commissioners appointed and on board. The act that you changed a few months ago, 6, 8, 10 months ago, allowed for 5, but that same act said that all 3 had to be present for a quorum. This just changes that act to where a majority of the duly appointed and confirmed commissioners.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved to second. Any discussion? By acclamation?
Yes.
All in favor, signify by saying aye. All opposed, same sign. Ms. Calwatt?
I know we're on time crunch, but we talked about last night at the full council meeting, if we could have 10 minutes, I think we can wrap up election law and get it back to full council next month. If we can, because I think Hembry's ready and there's copies around.
You have to amend the agenda to do that.
So I make a motion to amend the agenda to add the election law on, and there's copies in front of you, and Attorney Hembry is ready to move quickly.
Do you have a second? Second. Moved in second, discussion? Yes.
I would like an opportunity to go through this. I think even the election committee thought they were going to have till next month, and they hadn't even got their copy of it. So I would ask that this be tabled for a month.
Or we could call a special meeting.
That would be fine too. Just give us a day or two to look at it.
Yeah.
I know we need to get it done.
Can we just, yes.
Madam Speaker, would I suggest maybe we have a special meeting the Monday before council, and then still, because the majority of it is grammatical or spatial, and they're not substantive. If that would, and then I will withdraw my motion.
Okay. So we'll set up a special meeting. Mr. Hembry, you will be ready to go, won't you?
Damn, I'm born ready.
Move to adjourn.
Madam Chair,
To adjourn.
I mistakenly tabled something earlier. Should we just go ahead and deal with the Bill Grass's, the first item?
He's already made a motion to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. We are adjourned.